As I thought about this week, the put-down issue, we started taking our kids from Corn City on retreats in the fall and the spring. The first 2 or 3 years we were there, the same things kept cropping up and cropping up. What's the biggest problem in your social world, kids? And you know, it was a simple thing. Put-downs. Mr. Barger, we put each other down. We do things that hurt others. We're hurt by it. And you know what? I think the adults, I think we go through the same thing. Only we know how to handle it better. We can handle it better, but we still have to go through it. So I went and I started saying, how am I going to deal with this? Because if it's happening in 7 through 12 or 9 through 12, it certainly happened in 6th grade. And I was putting kids down. I wasn't so much verbally, but I had to look. And if a kid that I thought should have done well on a test, I'd sometimes show the paper on the desk. I had ways of, and I asked the kids, and I said last week, how am I putting you down? And we discussed it, and we talked about it. And I kept, after 10, 11, 12 years of working with kids, and 25 years of working with kids, the same things kept cropping up. The same things. Then I got to thinking that then bullying became the big word. Bullying. We always had, kids are always picking on each other, but we never made it an epidemic of social hurt. We weren't watching TV. Well, we'll get into that later. But 90%, now listen to this, 90% of young people that commit suicide have a bullying issue in their past. Are you listening? That is definite. Some minor, some major, but somewhere in the past. Okay, and there's a book up here I'll talk to you about next week, written by mothers of suicide kids. And it tells their stories, and it breaks your heart. And it was done by words and various little things that could have been avoided. Things that broke the very heart of Jesus. The things that hurt His creation. We're all part of His creation. And when we hurt somebody else, we hurt Jesus. And it's time to take a look at all of us. What are we teaching our children? And my favorite word was jerk. And that became my kids' favorite word. And there were things I was doing that I needed to do better. Things I was doing that I needed to do less. Things I was doing that needed to be tweaked. Now, why do we do it? It hurts people. These words hit the heart. They don't miss. They're perfect. They're the most accurate thing you can ever do if you want to hurt somebody's heart. Put them down. Tease them at work. Make fun of them. Ignore them. Let them go. Everything that Jesus would not want us to be. Now, and you people are great and wonderful people. And next week or soon, I got all the cards I got last week. I've written down what was said on them. And if you were here last week, or if you didn't respond last week, and you want to hand a little sheet of paper or card in telling me how you were put down, don't put your name on it. Just tell me how you were hurt. Why it happened. Why it happened. Okay? I had kids that were hurt by adults, and they couldn't say anything because the adult was some power and control over them. So they were in a social prison called home. And they were young and they couldn't fight back. And so a boy calls me and says, I'm going to shoot my father tonight. And I knew this kid, and I knew what he was doing. I knew what was happening to him. It was in Ohio. I may have brought it up before. He had every right to be angry. He had every right to defend himself. The dad would get drunk and beat him and belittle him and never encourage him and never was there for him, ever. And the boy called up, and I can't take it anymore. He'd reached the breaking point. My wife and I talked to him that night, late into the night, and he got better. I was reading last night, I brought up the papers of the things and the kids I've met and the stories I've heard, folks. When I first started, I didn't think I could make it. I was hearing stories that I wasn't God. I said, God, I can't take this. I can't continue to do this and hear this because I'm not strong enough. And I had to pray that God would strengthen me and help me get through it. And God more or less said, we'll get through this, Dad. You'll get all right. And many times, you don't just need a counselor. You just need someone in your own age group to understand you. Okay? We got young people here who could tell us about their life in school. We got adults here that could also tell us about how the struggles you've had to gain any kind of self-image after you were put down in school. And then, you know, I made a list. Normally, the kids give me this, or adults. I do this with parents. I do this with college-age kids. This isn't just for little kids. This is for all of us. And remember, it's Jesus at home in your heart. Take care of that most of all. Then I have a list. Why do we do it? What causes us to do this? Knowing it hurts. And here, you just become the target. For whatever reason, you are the target. Okay? You are the target. Sometimes you're compared and you don't measure up to the others. Labeled. All these words and stuff, they label you. Oh, I didn't mean it. They label. Ridiculed. Teased. Oh, teasing. Teasing. I'm not going to ask you how many of you were teased, but I know several of you were. It's just something that happens. And years ago, you would tease people, but we always stopped when we knew it was hurting. Nowadays, man, and then you get on TV, and TV makes a popular program out of teasing and putting people down and making fun of what is good and what is proper. And you become ignored. Anger, revenge, jealousy, gossip, depression, hate, lust. What happens? And next week we're going to talk about what are the results of all this. Peer pressure, fun. It is actually fun. People laugh. It makes people laugh. It's fine if you're not the one being laughed at, huh? It's done today to fit in. Some people are dared. If you're going to be in this group and you're going to be part of us, then you have to do it. Even at work. If you're not teasing a person, if you're not involved in that, then you're on the outside. Because almost every workplace has someone that's targeted. Almost every workplace. And some kids are so hungry for acceptance, so hungry for getting in the group, and some adults that they'll do anything. Sometimes it's initiation. Sometimes it's to be popular. The popular group. The normal group. Who in the world defined normal? I ain't normal. I don't want to be normal. What? Well, normal's not fun. I'm telling you, normal is not fun. And who defined it in Webster's dictionary? How many times have you felt different? Are you okay with being different? You know, everyone's normal. Now get this. Everyone's normal till you get to know them. Then maybe they're not so normal because you compare them. And who made you right? And who made them wrong? Okay? Sometimes it's get them before they get you. You ever feel like, well, especially, you know, I'm going to get them, man, then they'll stay away from me. Sometimes it's done out of ignorance. You know how many times I've asked people of all ages, did you really know it was hurting? Or did you really know the impact of what was going on? And they said, no. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. I don't like that person. Well, so what? I don't like a lot of people in Washington, D.C. Boy, I don't like them. Because of what they're doing, not who they are. And the Lord said about a month ago, Denny, you got to start praying for their heart. Because it's not going to change unless their heart changes. Do you agree with me? We have to pray for our leaders, regardless of what your personal feelings are. They're different. How about a personality, a person that has what about a person that has a special need? An adult that's different. An adult that's different. Look, folks, I go out of my way to be friendly and talk and greet and different people. But that's me. Maybe they are different. And you know what? They're looking at me and saying, "What is he different?" Am I different because I say God bless you to every person I come in contact with and anyone? God bless you. God bless you. Am I different because I'm a Christian? I hope so. Because if your differences aren't known and you're a Christian and you're not different, you got to do some work. You got to do some work. Okay? And what the Lord tells us in one of the verses, come out from among them and be ye different. Do you have the courage to do that? And are you going to be put down for being a Christian? Probably. Are you going to be labeled? Yep. I want to be labeled a fanatic for Jesus. Maybe would I have the courage to put that in my bumper sticker? I'm a fanatic for Jesus. You know what? I better get a good parking spot at Walmart. Everybody stay away from me. Right? How many of you people go? How many of you men go to Walmart? And your goal is not to get the goods, not to shop. It's to get the best parking spot, the closest parking spot. And on top of that, what if you get the closest parking spot with a pull-through? Woo! That's a good day in the neighborhood, man. Woohoo! The worst time is parking beside a grump. A grump. How about power and control? Is power and control issues an epidemic in this country of wrong? Of why we're where we're at? Don't turn your home into a power struggle. Let your kids have a voice. They don't get a vote, but they have a voice. You understand? I used to tell the boys, you can talk, but you can't vote. And since you can't vote, and we're 2-0, you're not going to get a vote. But you can talk. How about size and shape? Bailey, is size and shape an issue with girls? Yeah. Looks. The little girl in my life was traumatized by the word ugly. Traumatized, folks. 27 years old, and we were having a birthday party, and she said, I couldn't believe that I've come this far. She graduated from community college. No one in her whole family had ever graduated from high school. They could have, but they were labeled and they were put down, and they had the name in the community. They had the name. And no matter how hard you try, if you got the name and you grow up to be an adult, you still got the name. And they didn't feel like they were so. But she looked up, and she was manager of a store, vegetables produce manager. She said, I never believed that I'd get this far. And here's the words that just broke your heart. She said, but I'll never get what I really wanted. I always wanted to have a boyfriend and get married and have children. But that will never happen to me because I'm too ugly. 27. You know when it started, folks? 3rd grade. In 4th grade. By 5th grade, it was traumatizing. By 6th grade, she needed defense. She needed help. And she got help in 7th and 8th grade, and people helped her in high school. But the ugly never left. The words of 3rd grade haunted her and hurt her all her life. And she's not pretty by earthly standards, but she has a heart this big. She always wanted to help others. She was always kind to others. All she was seeking was someone to just say, you know, you're special the way you are. We don't care about your looks. Okay? The school pecking order. Athletes. Cheer. What group you're in. Some are more important than others. Jocks, nerds, speds, short bus kids, brainiacs, gay, homos, lesbos. You realize that 85 and 80% of rumors and gossip in our society, especially in school, relate to sexual things. Sexual things. The sexual revolution and the social media are two things that's killing us as far as kindness in the heart. Do you agree with me in that? It's just devastating. It's devastating. Now I'm going to close with a video.